Hello. So I'm in the middle of a move right now, which means that it's really awkward for me to make a video. However, I really wanted to because I've worked on a cool thing and I wanted to share it with you. And I just figured, let's make a video about it. So it's gonna be a nice and quick one today because I'm still sort of dealing with some of the move things, and apologies for the audio being slightly different. I'm not really in a situation to get that set up yet, but hopefully within the next video or two, everything will be back to normal. Let's have a look at what we're going to talk about. I spent the early part of this year working in Unreal, and one of the cool features that Unreal has is the ability to move around the scene view with a gamepad. Now, in Unity, you can't do that. You can only move with a right click and keyboard controls, really. You can use some of the tools as well, but basically it's mouse related movement, and it's okay, but you can't really do sort of certain types of moves this way. You've got to sort of, to do this, drag around a bit, and it's just really awkward. I really wondered why there was no support for a gamepad ever, and I don't think I'm the only one. So I wanted to try it out, but I couldn't because the old input system didn't actually accept any gamepad input while the editor's running. You have to be in play mode, which I thought was really weird. However, Unity's new input system does let you do that. So I used that to my advantage. And now you can see that I am controlling the scene view camera with you have to take my word for it that I'm doing it with a gamepad, but I'm not using the mouse, which you can clearly see. So I've managed to create an editor script that allows you to plug in any kind of gamepad and move around with it. So that's great. And I wanted to share that with you today while I've got some time in the middle of all this chaos. Now, one of the main reasons I wanted to make this video today is because the channel's just gone past 1,000 subscribers, and that's crazy to me. I started this channel 7 months ago and just wanted to share my experience as a developer and explain some of the cool systems and mechanics that I wish I knew about when I was figuring out how to do them, right? So I figured, well, if I figured this out and I know an answer to it, maybe somebody else that's looking for this sort of stuff might be able to use these videos as a resource so they don't have to go through the same level of trial and error as I had to. And they at least had somewhere to start, And it seems that a lot of you really understand that, and I'm really glad that the comments and feedback has been so positive from all of you, and I'm just really thrilled to have been able to help many of you, and honestly just overwhelmed by the response these videos have had and how they've helped all of you. So thank you very much for subscribing if you are a subscriber. This is such a great milestone, and I'm just really, really grateful. I also want to just say a huge thank you to everybody in the Discord channel. I started that up a few months ago as well, and that's been growing very steadily, and there's been some really great conversations. There's some cool games that people are working on that it's so fun to be able to talk to and share experiences and pull influence from these videos into stuff they're working on and vice versa. And so yeah, if you're interested in joining the community, then feel free to join us. The link is in the description down below. It's full of really supportive, really friendly fellow developers, and I think you'd find it a really great place to hang out. So with that all said, let's get started playing around with our scene view camera. Okay, so let's create a new project. Let's just call this editor camera controller. And we'll choose 3D with extras because it just gives us a little bit of cool stuff to work with. Hit create. All right, so with a fresh project up and running, let's head to Window, we'll go to Package Manager, and we need to install the new input system. By default, it won't actually show up in the list at the moment, at the time of this video, because it's in preview, it's not actually officially released. So you might see it here, but if you don't, you need to head into Advanced and Show Preview Packages. Now, we should be able to scroll down here and find the input system, which currently is on 0.9.6. Let's hit install. And this will then go through and install the new input system. Okay, so as soon as it's installed, Unity will pop up and be like, you need to set this as the native platform. So just hit yes, and then to be safe, let's just restart the editor. And with Unity restarted, we're now ready to get started on our gamepad input. So let's create a new script. Let's first just create a new folder, which we'll call editor, and then create a new script in there. Cool. Let's just call it editor camera controller. Let's open that up. Okay, so with the script open, let's just remove this here. Let's get rid of the mono behavior. Let's add the Unity editor to our usings up here. And then let's add the initialize onload attribute to the top of the class. And we'll create a static class called editor, or a static method even, called editor camera controller. Then let's set the update method also to static. And in here, let's choose editor application dot update plus equals update. And what this will do is this will essentially call this function whenever the editor is updating, which is exactly what we need. Then let's create some static variables. So we'll create a static vector 3, which will be our position, and a static quaternion, which will be our rotation, and we'll keep that stored in the script. Now let's get a reference to our scene view camera. We do that by calling sceneView.lastActive scene view, and then let's set the position to the pivot point of the scene view camera, and let's set the rotation based off of the rotation of the scene view camera. And that basically just means that when we're doing our gamepad input changes, we'll still be able to move the mouse to make the changes. So let's detect our gamepad. Let's type gamepad, and then let's use Unity engine.inputSystem and choose gamepad.current. And then let's check if it's null. Then we'll just return, because there's no gamepad plugged in, so don't do anything. If there is though, we want to set a whole bunch of variables to determine what the gamepad is doing. So let's create a vector2 for the movement of the stick, and then let's create a vector2 for the rotation stick. So vector2 move equals gamepad.leftStick dot read value, and then vector2 rotate equals gamepad dot right stick dot read value. So then let's check if the shoulder buttons are pressed to boom the camera up and down. So we'll do bool up. We'll create a boolean for up to determine if up is pressed. Gamepad dot right shoulder dot is pressed. And we'll do one for down. Gamepad dot left shoulder dot is pressed. Now we sort of cheat here by creating a fake game object that we then move around with our gamepad, and then set the position of that game object to be the position of the scene view. It's kind of a hacky way to do it, but this works, so that's what we're going to do. So let's create our camera target. And then let's set the camera target to the position and rotation. So every time we create our game object, it's going to be relative to the current scene view. And then we can influence our game object and move it around based off of our gamepad. So let's do camera target dot transform dot position plus equals camera target dot transform dot forward multiplied by move dot y, and then camera target dot transform dot position plus equals camera target dot transform dot right multiplied by move dot x. And then let's calculate whether we need to go up or down. So camera target dot transform dot position plus equals up, and then we'll do a operation here, camera target dot transform dot up times by 0.1f, or camera target, transform dot up multiplied by 0f. So basically, if up is true, do this, and if up is false, do this. And then we'll do the same for down. So then let's also rotate our camera target based off of the other stick. Camera target.transform.rotate, vector3.up, and then rotate.x times, let's just do 3. We'll do the same for the right. We'll do minus rotate dot y, also then multiplied by 3. Okay, so what we've then done here is changed the movement of the game object based off of the left stick, and then we're rotating the game object based off of our right stick. The next thing to do then is to actually update the view. So let's then set the position to be our camera target.transform.position, and then let's set the rotation to be the camera target.transform.rotation, and then let's just set our view based off of that. So view.pivot equals position, and then view.rotation equals rotation. And then let's destroy our camera target object because it served its purpose. Dot destroy immediate install camera target. Now, if we go into Unity, we can move around, we can go left and right, and we go up and down. However, we sort of have a problem with rotating. So notice how we're rotating around this point. The camera's sort of away. This is because of the sort of box size of the camera. It thinks that the point we're looking at is what we want to rotate around. What we actually want to do, if you've seen the camera controller episode, is we want to reduce that distance. Now this can be useful. You might want to actually rotate around a pivotal point, which is kind of cool, but we want to treat it as if it's a first person camera. So we want to reduce that size to 0. There is a way to do this. So let's do that. So here, let's put view.size equals 0. I think by default, the view size is -10. So now this will sort of reduce that distance and make sure that the rotation is happening from the pivot point itself. And we can now move relative to the way we're looking. The biggest issue though is that we're sort of getting this weird rolling as we're looking around, and that's because we're sort of also rotating around the z-axis, and we don't really want to do that. We just sort of want to rotate around x and y. So we need to zero out the z-axis to make sure that it's not sort of doing any of these weird circular motions. And before we set the position and rotation, let's then go to camera target.transform.rotation equals quaternion.euler camera target.transform.euler angles .x camera target.transform.euler angles .y, and then 0. And that zeroes out Z and make sure that we get a nice smooth rotation. You can see we've now smoothed out our rotation so that when we look around, we can sort of look up, down, left and right. We're not getting a weird sort of yaw happening. One of the features you could add is an ability to spin the camera that way. Maybe, you know, you want to look sideways on at something. But for now, I just sort of wanted a good way to easily move around. And that's it. It's really that easy. We've now got a gamepad controlled camera inside of our scene view with not that much work, to be honest. So hopefully that's useful to some of you and gives you a little bit of an insight to how the new input system works in Unity. I'm actually really excited to explore it a bit more. It seems much easier to use than the previous one. So hopefully we'll do another video on that in the future as I explore with it a bit more. But I really just wanted to put this together today to say a huge thank you, like I said, to everybody that has subscribed so far. You're all amazing and I love you very much. And that's pretty much it. If you're new to the channel, then please do consider subscribing. I'd really appreciate it. It does clearly help the channel grow and it'd be great to have more of you on board. Or if you're just interested in checking out some of the other videos, then please do that. It also helps. But until then, thank you very much for watching and I'll see you again very soon.